So my first job out of college was as a sports writer for the Washington Post. My mother was exceedingly proud. The reality was not quite as impressive. The reality was that myself and an entire cadre of other young people like me, willing to work for next to nothing, ran all over the Washington metropolitan area, covering all manner of high school sports and other local things for very little space in the newspaper that hardly anybody except the parents of those kids would actually read. I covered high school basketball, high school football, high school golf. That's a challenge. I saw games with ninth grade girls basketball where some of the players on the court did not have enough physical strength to throw the ball high enough to clear the rim, which of course did not stop their parents from yelling at the refs like this was the NBA Finals. But the creme de la creme assignment for the low men on the totem pole like myself was minor league baseball. There were several minor league baseball teams in the Washington metro area. One was the Frederick Keys, another was the Prince William Cannons, and we all wanted these assignments. For one, these were professional athletes, but the reality is that was not really the draw. The draw was Frederick was pretty far, and Prince William was all the way down in Prince William County in Virginia, was pretty far. And the reality is we made more money in mileage than we actually got for writing the stories. But even better than that, they would feed you in the press box also while you were there. And these were the easiest assignments ever because we were, again, allotted something in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 column inches in the newspapers. We're talking like this, which is really, it's barely enough to say the two teams that are playing and the score. There was nothing else to do. There was no sense in trying to get quotes or develop a story or do anything. You basically went there, you sat the whole time, you ate, you wrote what the score was, and then you drove back and collected your mileage check. It really was not a bad night. So, one August, in the dog days of summer, there was a new minor league baseball team in town, the Bowie Bay Sox, who you might imagine would play their games in Bowie, Maryland. Except they didn't, because they didn't have a stadium in Bowie, Maryland yet. So for the first year of their existence, they played in the old Memorial Stadium that the Orioles used to play in, because the Orioles had just moved into Camden Yards. And so this was, again, extremely exciting to people like me. I got to drive all the way to Baltimore. I got to go to a game in Memorial Stadium and cover it from the press box there. And of course, there was nothing to do but watch the game, eat their food, write my silly little story, and go home. So one time I had gone to the Bowie Bay Sox game, and in this particular game, Bowie wound up winning, but what happened was the starting pitcher for Bowie went the distance. He threw a complete game. He only gave up, I think, 1 run in the game, and he did a good job, except the thing was he gave up a ton of hits, and he walked a bunch of guys. And there were runners on base in every single inning, but every single inning he seemed to work his way out of it, and he didn't give up a lot of runs, and the Bay Sox wound up winning the game. So I, of course, have all game to think about what I'm going to use my precious couple of column inches for here, and I thought of this really clever lead, because I'm in Baltimore now. And so I wrote, so-and-so, Bowie Bay Sox pitcher, spent more time in hot water tonight than a Chesapeake Bay soft-shell crab, but nonetheless only yielded 1 run, and Bowie went on to win, 5-2 over so-and-so. So, of course, our editors back at the Washington Post review this before they actually print it, because it's a nothing little story, and it winds up on, page C12 of the paper, and hardly anybody reads it. And that's exactly what happened, and my story went in just like that. A week and a half later, I get my Sunday edition of the Washington Post, the edition that goes out all across the country, all across the world. And as I am perusing it, section A, the letters to the editor, the op-ed page of the Washington Post, at the top, there is a giant graphic of a crab. And the lead letter to the editor is from somebody who says, staff writer Craig Milsten obviously doesn't know anything about cooking soft-shell crabs because they don't spend any time in hot water at all. They are steamed, not boiled. And what's the matter with you people? And so their mom was the pinnacle of my journalism career.